Jared Roney from Advantage Feeders. Today we're going to be looking at our interim weighing result and discussing how all the different feeds have gone so far. So to start with, what we've done is after starting the trial 41 days ago, we've got all the lambs in the 8 different groups and weighed them all. So we know the average daily weight gain on all the lambs that are in the trial. So the results have been very interesting. Just during this process, what's timed up nicely as well is we've given all the lambs their booster 6-in-1 shot, and we've incorporated that with the B12 in the injection as well. One thing that's been really interesting is how consistent all 6 of the creep feeding groups have been getting onto their feed. So most of the lambs started with average age in groups of 2 to 3 weeks of age when the creep feeders were introduced, and all the groups were really quite consistent that after 3 weeks in the trial of 21 days, their intake increased quite a lot. So in the first 3 weeks, the average intake across most of the groups was about 50 grams per head per day. And after that 3-week period, for the last 3 weeks up to weighing, it's been just above 200 grams per day. So we can see a really big increase when lambs are about 5 to 6 weeks of age. So that's been interesting, and just quite interesting that doesn't matter which type of feed we've tested, it's all they've all been consistent when that increase in intake has happened. Another interesting one is when we're talking about feed flow. So this is a real critical thing to make creep feeding work and be easy for farmers. In the last video we talked about how that we had a couple cracked grain mixes and they've performed quite well. They have needed us to probably clean that licking area once a week. So it's manageable. We're in the monitoring the sheep, each group at least once a week anyway, so it's just a matter of putting your finger in that licking groove and flicking it, and it's very readily available. That hasn't impacted the intake of the lambs at all, so they're still getting it out. There was one situation where we had windy, humid weather where as feed type 6 that has 80% cracked wheat, 20% protein pellet. Those protein pellets are swelled up quite a bit and inside the hopper a little bit. So there was probably a 5 to 10 minute job of just unclogging those swollen pellets and freeing it up, and that's just been the one occurrence in the 6 weeks trial to date. Another thing to note is with feed type 6 that has the high protein pellet with the cracked wheat, is initially the lambs were sorting the pellet out and just eating the cracked wheat, and that probably happened consistently for the first 3 or 4 weeks before they started becoming accustomed to that high protein pellet and not sorting. So that's another thing to note. And the position of the trial now, a lot of the lambs are 8 to 9 weeks of age, or the average is 8 to 9 weeks of age. So we're starting to see their heads tug out of the creep panel. So the creep panels are at position 3. So what we're doing now across all the feeders in the trial is moving the creep panels up 1 hole to position number 4, just to make sure that they can comfortably get their heads in and out. The exciting thing really has been the results, and what we're seeing with daily weight gain has been really positive. So of the 6 creep feeding groups, they ranged from 35 grams per day daily weight gain above the control group to 68 grams a day across the 6 creep feed groups, and the average being 51 grams additional per day. So every group's a bit different, and it's really hard just initially to say which feed type's working best, because in the groups have had different amounts of lamb survival rates. So some groups have got more singles where one lamb has passed away from a twin than other groups. So it's not exactly fair to say which feed's working best, but what's been really interesting to see that all groups have been performing really quite well with good daily weight gains above control groups. The other key to look at is what we've been working on is the feed conversion. The best group has been converting at 1.8 kilograms of feed to an additional kilogram of lamb, and the worst group was 5 kilograms of feed to 1 kilogram of additional weight gain. So the average has been 3.1 kilograms of feed to 1 kilogram of weight gain across the 6 groups. So that's a excellent feed conversion and something that's been really great. So at the end of the next period, where we complete the trial by weighing all the lambs again in the next 5 to 6 weeks, we'll publish all the results and compare all the different feeds. So it's been very exciting to see the results so far, and be really interesting to see what the difference in the rumen development now does for the next period of time. So these lambs are going to have, that have been creep fed, are going to have partially developed rumens that are really going to be able to start eating a lot more grass, and it's going to be great to see how that contributes to their daily weight gains going forward. Thanks everyone.